ladies and gentlemen, we're saving the best for last, so we about to dive into the Raiders now. So it's not a secret. We'll talk about the champions here on Champions Time here in a moment. Uh, but let's get into this Raiders schedule here. And this Raiders team is really interesting to me because a lot of those losses that I give them within the division are just kind of pin and Jimmy G moments, except for when they play Kansas City. Um, dude, this schedule is kind of gruesome. So let's go and get into it. Mr. Casey, do you want to take
Hmm.
us? You want to lead us off on this one?
Yeah, to begin the season, we're going to play the Broncos, and I have the Raiders losing this game. And I believe the dude with the beard is going to go ahead and give them a win for this one.
Yes, sir. This is their first win of the season here,
Mm,
without a doubt.
mm.
Like I said, they'll end up splitting with the Broncos because I got the Broncos beating them later in the season. We'd already talked about that, but they're definitely getting the first one on these boys because it's the Broncos. They're not going to be ready. Like regardless, like it's still the
And this is
Broncos.
a really kind of a rough schedule.
It's a slobber knocker, dude. This schedule's probably harder. If this is almost like the schedule we had last year, it's dangerous, dude. Like
Yeah,
you're at risk of losing almost every effing game.
yeah. And I'm looking at, to the mid-November and all these
Mm-mm.
teams, man.
Let's talk
This is
about it.
the hardest
Let's
schedule we've
talk
looked at
about
so
it.
far
I know
for
it.
in the West, at least.
Let's talk about it. Week two, we got them versus the Buffalo Bills, and this was the first win I gave the Bills on the season because it is the Raiders. Raiders moved to 1-1 on the season. I think we're probably in agreement on that.
Yeah, we're gonna hear that a lot.
And unfortunately, the next week, 2 days after my birthday, shout out Virgo, September, uh, they got another L coming. They moved to 1-2 on the season when they played my boy KP and the Steelers, the future champions of the North. Uh,
Mm.
moving on here, they get the Chargers week 5. And I think what this was the first one I gave. No, they won the first one. But anyway, they're losing this game. It's just no doubt about it. It's almost terrifying. Like I said, Penn and Jimmy G was the one I gave on this one. Penn and Jimmy G, they can either be 2-2 or 1-3. But we'll
Yeah,
talk
this is
about that.
rough.
I'll have to come back to that because it's too dangerous. But luckily, you get to play the Packers the next week, and you get 2 wins on the season, and
And
so you're at. Go ahead.
really, I think this game is a fight for who's going to get the better draft pick. That's
Boy.
what we're looking at here.
Oh yeah, because it's definitely a tough test going forward. The next week they got here October
And that is
15th.
actually my first win for the Raiders on the season as well. Just a quick note.
Oh, you got them this. You got them as your first one or your second.
The Raiders over the Packers is the first win I have for the Raiders.
Okay, got you. Oh yeah, you did pick the Broncos first game. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. So next one we got on the slate here, we got Patriots and Raiders, and goodness gracious, Vegas, good night. 2-4. It's rough. It's tough out here. The NFL's a hard place to play. Who you got in this game?
I'm going with you. I'm not a big on the Patriots this year at all by any stretch of the means, but at least they got their stuff together, and I just I don't like this Raiders team. I don't like what they've put together, and I don't like their coaching staff. Give me the Patriots.
Yeah. And the next game here, I got another win for the Bears. Justin Fields, like I said, I think he's gonna go on a tear. They're gonna be pretty good. The Raiders moved to 2-5, and then they got to play the Lions. And I'll give the Raiders a win here. The Raiders, they got
Over
to win
the
this over
mm,
the Lions because, like I said, they're not going to have Jameson back by then. I have to see what this Lions offense look like to see if it's enough to beat the Raiders because the Raiders still got a pretty decent pass rush. It could be enough to beat Detroit.
I don't
Probably
see
get
it.
about 4 sacks.
I don't see it. I'm going with a better quarterback in Jared Goff. Just less,
Penn
you
and Jimmy
know.
G.
Yeah, even I'm not. Jared Goff's a better quarterback than Jimmy G,
I don't
and
know about that one. I
uh,
think I take Jimmy G over golf.
I would definitely take off. At least he's going to play. There's no questions about it. Mm.
True.
The week after that, we have the Giants versus the Raiders.
And you already know Vanilla Vic getting that win. Raiders moved to 3-6 on the season.
Yeah, that's another better quarterback, better team. The Giants are really probably one of those underrated teams this season.
Dude, they're gonna be
Uh,
good. Too good,
they're
dude.
yeah, they're actually starting to put talent around Vanilla Vic, and that is going to be a scary combination for some teams.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Next week, another L, man. I'm so sorry, Raiders fans. You just got to take them. You got to play AA Ron and the Jets, and you move to 3-7 on the season.
As DJ Khaled would say, and another one,
Another one.
another one. Just else. What do we got
but
after
luck,
the week after
but
that?
luckily for you guys, you play the Miami Dolphins after that, and you pick up another win to move to 4-7 on the season. Because I because this quarterback matchup, I don't really care who's playing quarterback for the Ravens. I mean for the Raiders, because Tua or some other or somebody else will be playing for the Dolphins. So, like my boy Mr. Casey just said, at least you know whoever's going to be there is going to be there to play, and we know him as a no name. But almost one thing guaranteed: Jimmy G might not be there, and Tua might not be there. So we'll see. We'll see who'll win this game. And
This could be a game of missing
I was
quarterbacks,
about
but
to
I'm
say
going
that.
with
Was
the
what I'm saying.
Dolphins.
Bet your bottom dollar. In a
Look,
game like this, I'll go with the Ravens.
You can put Tyreek Hill if he's not suspended in at
He's
quarterback at
suspended.
that point.
He's suspended. No,
Hey,
so fuck it. He's suspended.
he gets away with it.
Mm, 10 games.
Mm, mm.
Whew. But anyway, Raiders are now 4-7 on the season, surpassing the Broncos. So you know you won't be dead last, but third place is more than likely where you at, where you're gonna stay.
And I'm
Uh,
currently sitting at 1 win.
oof. Yeah. Next game you got the Chiefs. Well, we just go ahead and move that on to an L.
Yep, double that.
Good, goodness gracious. And then after that, you got the Vikings. Another L. Goodness gracious.
And as I like to tell my bartender, make that a double.
And then you got to play the Chargers after that. And this is your split game, so you can get a win here. 5 wins
Mm.
on the season.
And I'm actually still at 1.
Ooh, all right. Then after that, you got another L. Got to play the Chiefs again. Goodness gracious, they piling
Mm.
up. But luckily, you get the 2 more wins on the end of the season. You get to beat the Colts on the way out, and you get to beat the Broncos one more time.
And I'm actually going to agree with you on those last 2 games. Yeah, the Colts are. Oh man, that's actually a questionable one. We don't know. The
Depending on how
Colts
that
could
rookie's playing.
easily be winning this game, and
It could be.
I'm actually gonna take that back. I'm splitting. I've talked myself into the Colts over the Raiders. I think at this point of the season, the Raiders have given up. Versus the Colts still trying to be an up and coming team. But I do think they beat the Broncos, and I think the only reason they do that is so the Broncos play spoiler to such a great draft pick.
Right. So you got them at 2 wins on the season, man.
Yeah, 2-15. Oof.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah,
Good night.
yeah. And in my head, this is another one of those. I really thought this would be much closer to
I gave them
probably
seven
where you're at.
wins.
Yeah,
Yeah, they got
I
7 wins on mine. Good
you know,
night.
if I was a Raiders fan, I'd feel much happier about your pick. And before looking at the schedule, that's kind of where I penciled them in at. I was really kind of thinking 6-11, 7-10 kind of area. But that is a murderous schedule. That is
Yeah,
so
that's
rough.
true. Good
Like
night.
for a
It's
rebuilding year,
dangerous.
that's not the schedule you want. You could have gave that to the Chargers or something. What's going on here? Merry Christmas to the Chargers, I guess.
Man, yeah. Good night.